So I forgot to turn the camera on, but basically what I did is I took, I filled up a measuring cup with 1 cup of developer, and I stuck the thermometer in it. It's actually a little cold. I kind of overdid it, but you can warm that up pretty quick with a hot water bath. So I'm at 67 degrees. It won't take much. Around at 68. It won't take long. And then I filled it up, and then I put the thermometer in it, and it was at like 90 degrees. And then I used really cold tap water because it's wintertime, and just put the other cup in as really cold, and it got me down to 67 degrees. So that's why I have to warm it up just a bit. All right, and as soon as that hits 68 degrees, we're ready to we're ready to start developing. Now I'm going to start getting my stop bath and my fixer ready, and my stop bath is going to be cold. Because it's in this room, and this room is cold. The water tempering bath to get my temperatures correct. And I know my mixer is going to be cold too. We're there on that one. So, develop, stop, fix. And the stop and the fixer need to be more, somewhere in the neighborhood of 68 degrees. It's actually pretty close because I've had the heat on in here. So we'll let that go, but we're ready to start developing. I get 11 minutes set on the Gray Lab. D76 in. Okay, once it's in, start the timer and give it some agitation. This is how I do it. It doesn't matter how you do it. Then give it a little tap to dislodge any bubbles that are in there. And then every minute you give it, I think it's 7 rotations for agitation. And it doesn't really matter how you do it, as long as you do it consistently every time, somewhat consistently every time. And you start the timer after your chemistry is in there. Plus or minus 10-15 seconds ain't gonna make that big a difference. So don't freak out, don't worry, relax. It's not that big a deal. The only way to really screw this up is to put the wrong chemicals in the wrong order. Or, and so developer, stop bath plays okay with developer in the sense that it stops the development, but the developer does not play nice with the stop. See, I just missed my minute. No big deal. Not gonna freak out. Just gonna do my agitation. 10 seconds every minute. Little tap. Okay. developer does not play nice with stop bath because it contaminates the developer. Stop bath plays nice with fixer in the sense that like I can go from the stop bath to the fixer. Okay. All right. So that I got my temperature on my stop now, so we're good. And then let's see where my fixer is at. Oh yeah. So you know, between 66 and 72 degrees is good enough for those chemicals. So I don't need the water tempering bath anymore. All right. It's usually 7 rotations. That's how you agitate it. So today's Mozart's birthday. They're playing a lot of. You'd think I'm a Mozart fan. I really love classical music. However, Mozart's not my favorite. I mean, clearly there's genius there, but not everything Mozart did was, you know, not like Beethoven. I'm a little biased to Beethoven. Schubert, Berlioz, Chopin, Handel. Yeah, Mozart, don't get me wrong, I like Mozart, this is fine. Verdi, Nebuchadnezzar, the opera, the overture. Of course, my favorite piece, not favorite, I mean, the piece I think is the pinnacle is Beethoven's Ninth. Try being a blind photographer. All right, the last agitation is coming up. And then it's go time. After you're done with the development, timing is not that critical. After you're done with the development, then how you agitate and how long you develop for affects how your film turns out. But when you put the stop in, like it can sit in the stop for 10 minutes. The stop just has to be enough. Okay? I mean, ideally you want 30 seconds on the stop. So this is the last agitation. That developer is a 1-to-1 mix, 1 part stock solution, 1 part water. If I had more film to develop, I would use it, like if I had a roll of 35mm or 4 sheets of 4x5, like I would use it right now if I had it reloaded and ready to go. But because I don't, it doesn't keep for 24 hours. Like, I'm just going to dump it. Actually, I'm going to put it back in here for now. But then I'm going to dump it down the drain. Alright, when the timer hits 0, that's when you methodically dump out your chemical. Don't dilly-dally around here, get the stop in. This can, I have to tilt it a little bit. Alright. And I don't worry about setting the timer here. I mean, I will in a second. But I'm going to get some agitation on there. Get the bubbles out. Now we're good. Now I can relax. Now there's nothing that's time critical. Okay? What I usually do is I set 6 minutes on the gizmo here. Because I want 30 seconds in the stop and about 5 minutes in the Ilford Rapid Fixer. And that's diluted 1 to 4. If I'm using a stock Kodak fixer, a regular Kodak fixer, the powdered stuff, then it's a 10-minute fix. So let's, you know what, let's just dump our developer right now. Alright, developer's gone. I don't have to worry about that. Stop can come out. And fixture goes in. Beauty. There it is. Agitate with the fixer. Ideally it would be 10 seconds every minute, but it's not critical. It just needs some agitation. I keep rinsing stuff because I don't want to contaminate my chemicals. Film when it's wet is more fragile, so when you're handling wet film, be extra careful. My homemade drain pipe film washer. Get that ready to go. Like I said, fixing is not a time critical thing. I give it 5 minutes in the rapid fix. The only reason I don't do longer is because by this point you're bored and you want to get your film into the wash and see what it looks like. I use the same fixer for print developing. This fixer is about a week old. I mixed it about a week ago. I used it for some prints and a couple of rolls of film. This will probably be the last shot with it. I might do some film print, some paper printing, and it'd be fine for that. I wouldn't develop another roll of film in it because that's critical. All right, there we go. All right, now. I just don't want to hit it with really cold water. Give it some rinse. give it 3 cans full to get most of the fixture off of it so I can touch it without getting fixture all over my hands. Make sure it's not too hot. Also, it don't want to be too hot. There we go. Alright, that's it. Now you can open the can up, see what it looks like. Got to be careful though, you don't want to damage the film. Alright, there it is. I don't know if you can see that or not. The last 2 I screwed up. I forget what I did. Oh, the cable release malfunctioned. And so it just did like, you know, click, click, and that was it. But the rest of them look fine. Look really good, actually. I know I screwed them up. The cable release, I didn't have the button set right. So the film also still has kind of a purple look to it a little bit. And after about 15 minutes in a 70 to 75 degree water wash, that purple will disappear. And like I said, you don't want to start looking at it and unrolling it off the reel because the film is delicate at this stage. So now I take this gizmo, which helps me get it out of the print washer, and get that print washing. First I'll rinse this a little bit, and I'll rinse that a little bit, throw it into the rinse water. There we go, and the principle here is the water goes in the top, comes up the sides, and then over, so it flushes the fixer out. At least that's the plan. Works pretty good. And there it goes, and what are we at for temperature? A little cold, so back off on that. Yeah, get the temperature up a little bit. That might be better. Really anywhere from 65 to 80. Not 80. 65 to 75. That would be acceptable. And then we're going to give that a 15-minute wash. And then I'll come back and show you what I do. I just let that run for 15 minutes. And then the last step is Kodak Professional Photo Flow 200. 2.5 milliliters per 500 liters. So get the idea. In other words, it's a drop or two. Alright, so the timer just wound down. That's 15 minutes of washing. And so now our film is basically done. So what I'm going to do now is take this Photo Flow 200 and very carefully measure it out. A couple of drops. Probably too much, but I don't have an eyedropper. And then it's 30 seconds of agitation. So 1 minute on the timer. Put this up to the top, and we just dunk away. If I say 30 minutes, 30 seconds. 30 seconds of agitation. And the stuff is frothy, don't worry about it. The bubbles will disappear, unless it's really frothy. But I used to get that a little bit when I was doing 35 millimeter in the school darkroom at college, at university. A lot of good that bachelor's degree did me. And that's 30 seconds. So basically film's done. Now I'm going to take it out, let it drain. Like I said, don't worry about the bubbles. And again, the film is very delicate right now. So now what I'm going to do is unroll it and put it on these racks behind me over there. And I'll show you what it looks like when I get it on the racks. I put a clip like this at the bottom, which I got up at Harbor Freight. They're just cheap plastic clamps. And give me a second and I'll show you what that looks like. This can just get dumped. And you don't have to worry about that contaminating anything. Some old-time photojournalists used to put the photo flow in with the developer. But they were in a hurry. This gets a final rinse. And onto the drying rack over here. And when it's dry, in 24 hours or 10 hours or whatever, it's ready for another roll of film. And I don't know if you can see that, it's pretty dark. Let me bump the ISO. I got those racks off of, you can see it, but there's the film hanging. I got those racks off of Amazon. I'm still working on that side of the darkroom. I've got to put the racks somewhere where they make some sense and not quite so cluttered, etc. I think they're sock drying racks. They're like 10 bucks. So there it is. Okay, so the film has dried overnight, and now we cut it up and put it in the sleeves. I get these binders off of B&H. I'm not really sure who makes them. I know Bessler has them branded. It might be the Bessler brand, but they keep the dust off your negatives. They're kind of nice. So that's where this one's for 6x6. And so I have a label maker and I label them. And I use the print file negative sleeves. Print file negative sleeves, and this is 124B is the style number, in case anyone's interested. So, had a little malfunction here. I'm going to guess as best I can. The cable release was acting up, but I'm going to plead that it's part of photographing in 20-degree weather. I normally use those red cable releases, and what I was using here was a Nikon AR-15, is what they call it. And I wasn't used to how, I don't normally use that cable release, so I'm making excuses now, but that's actually the truth. And the red cable release, I know exactly how it works. And the AR-15 I was guessing, and these shots down here, I just forgot to turn it on and off. The red cable release is default, so that it always stays on and you push the button to release it. The black one, you have to set it. And so, all right, there we are. And I will take a Sharpie and mark this. I believe that was the 27th. So 01, 27, 25. That is the crappiest Sharpie. I do like a brand new Sharpie. Oh, much nicer. And this is number 0007. And I started over with this new Hasselblad and this new binder. And so I'm starting from 0001 as my first roll of film. And the way I keep track of my negatives is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so that photograph there would be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be 0007-4. And that gives that photograph its own specific number. And looking at these negatives, so I'm liking 3. Oh, 4 is not bad. So 4 and 6 are good. So I'm going to scan those two and see where we're at. I don't know why I turned that off. So the Epson V850 film scanner is a lot of money for something with very few features. And what I mean by that is it doesn't have Bluetooth, it doesn't connect wirelessly. The Canon printers connect wirelessly. Epson has not updated the V850 in like 10 or 15 years. Granted, there's not a lot of money in film scanners these days, so maybe they don't have much incentive. Kind of like YouTube, in the sense that people always complain that they always see the same videos. Well, those are the ones that the algorithm promotes. And so, you know, people, YouTube is a for-profit organization, both for the content creators and the thing. But the point that I'm trying to make is this film, the worst part of the Epson V850 is the negative carrier. It is awful. I mean, it works, but boy, it is so cantankerous. The negative carrier is horrible. It's got these, there's like these V's on the edges that you got to get the negative like just centered right so it clamps it down. It's not a very positive process. There it is. And then it's got these things here, which I know where they should be set, but they always move. It's the height adjustment. And what I should do is just kind of tape them where they belong so they don't move on me. But anyway, there we go. Over to the scanner. Okay, Epson V850 scanner. And here's the negative we just put in there. This is one of those Swiffer Duster deals. Give it a little spritz. It's kind of out of air, but makes me feel better. That goes in there, shut the lid, turn her on. And over to the computer, I'll show you how I scan these. So this is how I scan a negative. Go to Epson scan. Now this is already one I was playing with, but pretend that's not there. Let's get rid of that. Yes. Okay, so this is what comes up. I hit, Epson Perfection V800, V850, photo mode, main settings, transparency unit with negative carrier, I think that's what that says, with area film guide, film area guide. All right, black and white film, 16-bit grayscale, 2400 DPI, high, and then that's great for preview. I hit preview. It does a preview scan. And this comes up. Okay, so I take the little cursor thing and I just make a quick outline. You don't have to be precise here, because if you come up here and you hit zoom, it'll rescan it and make that bigger. Okay, now you can fine tune it a little bit. Go right up to the edge there. Up to the edge there. Up to the edge there. There we go. All right. Get a little bit more on top here. And a little bit more over here. All right, that looks good. Now that's the area you're going to scan. Now also what I do is I come over here to advanced settings. I keep all this off. I'll handle that in post-processing. Detailed adjustments. You got image adjust. I don't do anything. Tone correction. I don't do anything. Histogram adjustment. I always do this. I try to get all the data I can off of the negative. And I want the output to be as much as possible. All right, and there you go. And then for my folder, I'll just show you where that's the right folder, but I'll show you where I put it. So one of the things I did recently is I switched over to all solid state drives, which is really nice because everything comes up quickly. Nothing goes to sleep. I don't have to wait for it to spool up. So Hasselblad photographs 007. So this is where I want it. So I choose that. And then I want to call this, this was number 4. So I want to go to settings and give that a -4 because it's the 4th negative on the roll. And then I know exactly which negative produced this scan. All right, that's it. Everything's ready to go. Okay, everything's ready to go. I'm going to hit scan, and this will take a while. It's also good not to have anything like, you know, if you have a creaky floor, you know, try to keep your scanner relatively peaceful, relatively undisturbed, shall we say. It shouldn't be on a rickety table, you know, on a wobbly floor kind of a deal. But, all right. All right, and that's all there is to that. Now I will show you how I post-process these. So in Photo Lab, I've already done that one, which turned out stunning. I come over here, and this is our new scan. And there it is. Now you'll see that there's been no sharpening applied here, okay? Because at this point, this is a digital image. So I come in here and I increase the radius up to about 1-ish. And this is going to go up to about 400 because these negatives, there's a lot of data there and they can handle the sharpening. So there you have it. All right, now I'm going to fine tune the crop. And I don't like what's happening on that side there. And I can come down a little bit more here. I kind of like that. Okay, why did I do that? Well, I don't like this branch up here. I don't like that box over there. So we'll call that where I want to be. We'll close that. All right. Now, the inherent tonality in these images is fantastic. So all I really need to do is just come down here a little bit on the blacks, a little bit on the shadows, maybe increase the contrast a hair, something like that. Too much. Just a touch of contrast there. And that's about it. Yeah, that's about it. And so the only other thing that I would do here is give it a little bit of a dodge and burn kind of a deal down at the bottom. Something like so. And come over here and darken that up a little bit. Not too much, don't go crazy. Something like that. All right, that's going to print nicely. And there it is. So, Yeah, that'll work. The inherent tonality of film is stunning. It just gives this lovely tonality, and it's what I'm looking for. I mean, that's it. Image is done as far as the digital reproduction is concerned. Now I'm going to print this. So in order to print this, now remember, this is 2400 DPI at 2 inches by 3 inches, and DxO Photolab has a problem with that. So what I need to do is export. Nope, I don't want to do that. So what I need to do is export this and export to disk. I guess I could have done Command K, but I want to export it as a full size 16-bit TIFF, but I want to, and this is the way I can convert it to 300 DPI using Photolab. So let me export that. And I'll come down here. That's exported. Then we go to the library, and we want this one, the print file. And okay, so in order to print this, I go to File, Print. And then I want the managed by DxO Photolabs. I'm printing on Hahnemühle hemp paper because that's what I've got. The layout, I want it to be a little bit, actually I want to specify exactly what I want my print size to be. So this makes it a 7.6 by 7.6 print size. I don't have to worry about the other dimension. If I worry about the sides, the other dimension falls into place. That's great. And then printer options, color matching, color sync, hemp, okay. Quality and media. This paper requires extra highest density fine art paper. Highest quality, okay. And because it's a matte paper, I have to cancel the margin regulation or else it gives me an error message. With the Barita papers, the Moab Juniper, Hahnemühle Photoreg Barita, I don't have to worry about that. All right, and then all I have to do is hit print and off we go. Okay, so long video. Hope you enjoyed it. Obviously you can skip around, so if you know how to develop film, just move right along there. So, the upshot of it all is I've done a ton of printing in the past 24 hours. And I've actually spent about 3 or 4 hours in the darkroom too, but that's another video because this video is already long enough. But I've got some conclusions. So what's interesting is I've got this scene here, okay, and I've got that printed out from the Hasselblad and then from the A7R5, and oh, they're so close. But where it lets it down, and you can't really see it here, but where the A7R5 lets it down is around zone 6, zone 7. And it was so close. I can get them almost, but and then I was thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I never do this. I have to throw in a curve to bump that specific zone 6 area. And I did that. And here it is. And so, yeah, because as far as sharpness is concerned, the Hasselblad and the A7R5 are neck and neck. And so the resolution is there. And I was very happy with everything else except for the tonality. The tone curve on film, it's not that it's better because it's film, it's better because the curve is better. It looks better. That zone 6, zone 7 lusciousness, the exquisiteness of that area of those zones the digital images are always flat. and so you have to add a little bit of a bump on a curve to get that area up. And once I did that, like, there ain't much in it. Like, I was all set to say that the best process would be Hasselblad film, scan, print over A7R5, and then post-process and then print. But now that I got that figured out, like, I can kind of make the same image from both systems. And if that's the case, now this is a one shot. You know, if you can do it once, you should be able to do it again, right? And up until now, I haven't been able to to get them that close. To the point where I actually think that the tonality of the A7R5 print is better by a hair. So yeah, let's just say that they're equal, okay? So having said that, I'm happy with the, if assuming that I can recreate this, and now that I know like where to bump the tonality, right? It's one thing matching great tonality from film, which is inherent in the film. And, so, but again, like I've said in other videos, you can't have a process where you go out and shoot something in film and then shoot it in digital so that you can see how good it can be. That's ridiculous, right? But now I know that I can push the zone 6, zone 7 to get that tonality that I'm looking for. The bottom line comes down to that in color, yeah, there's no question about it. Digital is better, hands down, okay? For black and white, where you live and die by that nth degree of tonality and sharpness, it's all the nth degree stuff that separates good black and white from great black and white. Film has the edge so film is easier in the sense that it inherently has most of that built into it, but digital can get there, and that's the key. And I guess the more you shoot digital, I mean, I've been shooting film for 30 plus years, right? And I've been shooting digital for 15, but I've never taken the digital to this level. Okay, my digital work in the past is black and white is good. Color work is fine because the color work it has to be right? The problem with digital is a lot of people overdo it. And I've never been subject to that kind of mentality. So my digital color work tends to be, I think, pretty good from the sense that like it's not overdone. But black and white, it's got to be that nth degree, and so that's what I've been pursuing here. And the bottom line comes down to is like I'm comfortable with digital. Like I said, I spent 2 or 3 hours in the darkroom, but that's the next video. And then I'll tell you my conclusions in terms of darkroom prints versus scanned and or A7R5 digital files being printed on a printer, on a digital printer. So that's that. So as far as Hasselblad shooting film and or 4x5 shooting film or shooting A7R5, it's a wash, which I'm just amazed about. But it took me a lot to get to that point. It took me a lot to figure out how to get the digital to equal the film. Okay, but I'm there. And I don't know if I can ever do it again, and I don't know if I can do it to the point where I'm pleased with it when I just go out and shoot the digital and not shoot the film. So we'll see. I will say that the 4x5 film is sharper than the Hasselblad and the A7R5, but that's to be expected. But is the Hasselblad good enough? Is the A7R5 good enough? Oh, absolutely. So yeah, that's a whole nother thing. That's a large format thing, and I'm not even worried about it. Okay. For the next video is printing in a darkroom from a negative better than printing a digital file or a scanned file of film on a digital printer, okay? But as far as digital capture versus film capture, I think I figured it out, so that's cool. Hey, long video, hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Please subscribe. That'd help a lot. And Patreon channel, link in the description below, and my book. And we'll see you out there. Have a great one. Bye.